Hi students, welcome to Structural Engineering Lectures and welcome to the new playlist on designer steel structures limit method conforming to IS 800 2007 code. In today's class we shall see the designs of the bolted bracket connection designs subjected to eccentric loading, bracket type 1 and type 2 bracket connections, wherein we will see a few solved problems, right? Like this, using the ordinary black bolts, right? This is a bracket type 1 connection, student, as well as this is the bracket type 2 connection, right? Both of these problems we will see, right? Whereas in the previous class we have seen the designs of the bolted connections using high strength friction grip bolts, these, right? Even we have discussed combined shear and tension, the bolts subjected to combined shear and tension, and also the bolts subjected to the prying forces, like this prying forces, right? Therefore, I hope you are enjoying the discussions on our YouTube channel, right? If you are really enjoying the discussions, don't forget to click like, comment, subscribe, and share to our YouTube channel, right? Now, before we go for the actual discussion, student, now let us see the brief profile of mine. That is how this is Dr. D. Rupesh Kumar. Dr. D. Rupesh Kumar, obtained my BTech Civil Engineering from Nagarjuna University in 1994 and MTech Structural Engineering from JNTU Hyderabad in 2000 and PhD Structural Engineering from JNTU Hyderabad in 2009. Right? Presently, I am working as Associate Professor in Department of Civil Engineering, University College of Engineering, Hyderabad, Telangana State. Right? I have an experience of 27 years, of which 7 years is in industry and 20 years is in teaching and research at graduate, postgraduate levels. My research areas include reinforced cement concrete designs, steel designs, structural analysis, front element analysis, orthopedic engineering, bridge engineering, structural optimization. I have published 45 research papers in international and national journals and conferences, organized 3 international conferences and 11 national conferences and workshops, attended 43 workshops, visited 2 countries, delivered 13 guest lectures, edited 3 books, supervising 14 PhD scholars, and supervisor 30 ME scholars. Right? I'm actively involved in various consultancy works that are offered by the department and completed over 750 design proof checks and 150 designs of RCC, steel, composite, low-rise, high-rise, multi-story buildings and road as well as rail bridges. Right? Now, once we see this brief profile, let us move to the today's discussion. Right? This is how we'll see the designs of the bolted bracket connections subjected to the eccentric loading, right? Now let us move quickly to the discussion started. This is how the eccentric and movement bolted connections, right? Now, wherein the connections may be between a beam to beam, right? Between a beam to column, right? Beam to column, right? Or this may be between a beam to beam, right? Like this. Now we'll see, right? Schematically, right? However, the different types of the connections are like this, right? The connections may be flexible connections, or they are what called simple connections, right? Or the connections may be rigid connections, right? The connections may be rigid connections, right? The example is the welding is 100% is rigid, right? And the third one is the semi-rigid connections, right? Now, let us see what are these types using the IS 800 code. However, before we go to that code, let us see even generally we'll be having in these, right, one angle which is provided at the top of the beams is what called the cleat or cover angle, and the beam at the bottom of the beam an angle which is provided is what called the seat angle, right? The seat angle, right? This is how the seat angle for this beam, right? Whereas this is called the cleat angle, right? This is called the cleat angle, student, right? Whereas this is called the seat angle. If this is a beam, right? This is a beam. Then these are the two technical terms, student. Now let us see. Once we see this, right, let us see the bolted seated connections. Let us see first what are the bolted seated connections, right? Now like this, right? Bolted seated connections, right? Where are these beams are sitting over the seat angle, right? Like this, the seat angle, right? These may be unstiffened bolted connections. These may be unstiffened, right? Unstiffened bolted connections like this, right? Simply, right? Wherein I don't have any stiffener angle here, and they are provided by means of the bolts, right? Or these may be stiffened bolted connections, right? Now we will see as per the IS 800. As per IS 800, I'll go to those schematics, right? And however, now let us see these bolted seated connections, right? Just now I show this as using this one, right? These are the seat angle and this is the cleat angle. This is a beam connected to the top a stanchion or column, right? And this is unstiffened bolted connection, right? Even if at all we are providing any stiffener angle or stiffener plate, then they are what called the stiffened bolted connections, right? Now, however, the connections are also of the second type. The second type are of bolted framed connections, right? They may be beam to column framed connections are beam to beam framed connections, right? Now let us examine that as per this, right? Like this is a beam is connected to a column by means of the framing angle, or even a main beam is connected to another main beam by means of a framing angle that we will see as per IS 800 also, IS 800 schematics also. Then we will see photographs also. The third type of connections are bolted bracket connections, right? These are what called the connections between the beam to column only, right? However, on either side of the flange, only, right? However, these are of two types. The type one, the bolted bracket type one bolted bracket connections, right? In which the bolts will be there in the plane of the bending. The bolts will be there in the plane of the bending, right? Now like this, right? This is the all the bolts will be there in this plane of the bending, whereas the second type is this one, right? This is the type 2, wherein this is subject the bolts plane is there on a transverse plane perpendicular to that of the application of the movement, right? However, the movement is subjected on this plane, whereas perpendicular to that plane I will have the bolt group is there, right? Bolt group, whereas movement is applied on a transverse, quite different plane, right? Like this, on this plane, a quite different plane. Therefore, in such a case, this is what called the type 2 bracket connection. Therefore, once you understood this has a type 1 and type 2 bracket connection, student, right? Now let us see quickly using IS 800 also, right? Here this is of the type 1, right? This schematic just now shown, right? Beam may be sitting over a bracket plate, and which in turn is connected to the flange of a column by means of say a number of rivets which are provided in two rows, right? Then or this is how the type 2 bracket connection, wherein these bolts are these bolt group is there in a plane perpendicular to that of the application of the movement, right? Whereas the bolts are there on this plane, whereas movement will be there on a quite perpendicular plane, right? That is how they are what called the type type 2 right? Let us see these IS codal specification, student, at a quicker pace, right? And now I'll go to IS 800, right? This is how we are there in IS 800, page number 131, student, right? Beam to column connections are of three types. Either simple connections, right? Simple connections are assumed to be, right? What are simple connections means, right? Now the code says that they are assumed to transfer only the shear force, right? Only shear force can be assumed to be transferred at some nominal eccentricity, and typically used in frames up to 5 stories in height, right? Where strength rather than that of the stiffness govern the designs, right? In such frames, right? Separate lateral load resisting systems is to be provided in terms of the bracings or shear walls, right? Now, however, let us see the connections shown in figure 32A, B, C, and D are assumed to be single connections in frame analysis and need to be checked only for the transfer of the shear only, right? They only transfer the shear. They only transfer the shear, not any movement, right? Now let's see this four figure student 32A, B, C, D, right? That is a 32A. Now this is a beam is connected to the flange of a column by means of a single web angle, right? Single web angle, right? The single web angle is connected to the flange of the column, which in turn is connected to the web of this beam, right? By means of single web angle, right? Like that, if the web angles are there on either side, then that is what called connected by means of double web angle, right? Now that is all. And next, the third one is even we can have the top angle, or this is what called the cleat angle at the top, and at the bottom it is what called the seat angle, right? Therefore top and seat angle with double web angle, even this is also a simple connection. The fourth one is top and seat angle without double web angle. In the previous case, double web angle is there, was there. Here there is no double web angle. Therefore these 32A, B, C, D are what called the simple connections, where in which case only the shear force here, right? Only shear force will be transferred from beam to column. No movement transfer occurs because of flexible nature of the connection, right? Whereas, whereas let us see the second definition, student. What are rigid connections, right? In high-rise and slender structures, stiffness requirements may warrant the use of rigid connections, right? Rigid connections transfer significant movement to the columns and are assumed to be assumed to undergo negligible deformation. They are assumed to undergo negligible deformation at joint, right? These are necessary in sway frames for stability and also contribute in resisting lateral loads. Right? The connections shown in figure 32 EFG can be assumed to be rigid connections in frame analysis and need to be checked for both shear and movement. Therefore, it is important, right? Rigid connections are transferring the shear as well as movement transfer from beam to the column, right? Fully welded connections can also be assumed to be 100% rigid connections, right? Now, whereas the third one is semi-rigid. Semi-rigid connections means, right, semi-rigid connections fall in between these two, right? They are neither simple connections nor that of the rigid connections. Now let us see first of all these 32 EFG, which are rigid connections, right? EFG, right? Now this is a beam which is provided with an end plate. Here you can see this end plate, right, without column stiffeners, right? Whereas in the second case, even we will have the column stiffeners, right, like this, right? Two column stiffener plates are provided in the column portion on the rear in the continuation of this beam flange, the continuation of the compression as well as tension beam flange, right? Then this is how the second type is end plate with column stiffeners or end plate without column stiffener. Both are movement connections or rigid connections. The third one is a T stub, right? Now you can see that in the compression flange of the beam, a T section is connected, and also in the tension flange also a T section is connected, and they are now connected by means of the bolts, right, to that of the beam, right? That is how now this connection is what now a rigid connection, right? Now once we examine this, let us also see what is the connection classification, student, right? However, these are as per the Zohode classification, right? Now here the movement parameter m prime is equal to mu divided by mpb, right? Where mu is ultimate movement at, of the section, and mpb is the plastic movement of that given beam, right? And also another rotational, non-dimensional rotational parameter theta prime is equal to theta r, the actual rotation, by that of the theta p means the plastic rotation, right? These are the ratios, right? Therefore, keeping in the ratio from this table 43, I have connection classification as say rigid connection if m prime is greater than or equal to zero point 0.7, right, in terms of strength, or in terms of stiffness if m prime is greater than 2.5 theta prime, then that type of connection is what referred to as the rigid connection, right. Similarly, if m prime is greater than zero point 0.7 and it is greater than zero point 0.2 in terms of strength, or m prime is greater than 2.5 theta prime and sorry, less than or equal to sorry, greater than or equal to 2.5 theta prime and less than sorry uh, m prime is less than 2.5 theta prime and uh, sorry, m prime is greater than zero point 0.5 theta prime and less than 2.5 theta prime in terms of stiffness, then they are what called the semi-rigid connections, whereas flexible connections are if m prime is less than zero point 0.2 in terms of strength, or if m prime is less than or equal to 0.5 theta in terms of stiffness, then they are what called the flexible connections. Or let us see this schematically as per the Zode, right. Therefore, there is a here this m prime, right, non-dimensional movement parameter as well as non-dimensional rotational parameter, right. Then this non-dimensional movement parameter is almost up to say 25%, right, 25%, then they are what called this flexible connections, right. If it is in between 25 to approximately 70%, then they are what referred to as the semi-rigid connections, and if it is greater than 70%, less than 100%, then they are what called the rigid connections. Even now you can see in terms of the rotational parameters also, right. Now once we examine this student, now let us move quickly to that of a few schematic students, right. Now this is how we will see a few schematics at a quicker pace, right. At a quicker pace, let me just go quickly, right. This is how uh, a beam is connected to a column flange, right, column flange, right. Now this is a movement connection, right. It is a movement connection subjected to eccentric loading, right. Even now you can see that this beam is connected to the column in the web zone, whereas this beam is connected to the flange of this column, right, flange of this column. Therefore, even now we can see that this is how the type 2, these are the type 2 bracket type 2 movement connections, right, type 2 movement connections, right. Now now let us also see the other schematics, student, right. This is how just now we have seen that the flange, to the flange one bracket plate is connected, one bracket plate is connected like this, and the load will be applied, right, or the beam will be simply sitting over this bracket plate, right. There will be uh, uh, one pair on either side of the flange, right, on which the beam will be sitting, right, beam will be sitting, right. That is how this will be transferring the loads and the bending will be happening like this, right. Therefore, whereas here we will have the bolts which are in the same plane as the load is applied, right, or the movement is happening, right, or the uh, bolt group, the CG of the bolt group is there in the same plane as the plane of the movement. Therefore, this is what called the type 1 bracket connection. Whereas the this is up, right. Now you can see that movement is happening about this CG axis, right. The CG of all these n number of bolts, right, is falling on one particular plane. On the same plane, there is a movement, right, movement, due to which the extreme bolt will be subjected to not only the shear force but also is subjected to the shear due to torsion, right. This is how now this bolt is subjected to the bending or torsion, right. Because of the torsion, I don't have the shear force, because T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to CT tau by L, the simple torsion formula. From that, I will have the shear stress or shear force, right. This is what the shear force due to the torsion, and this is the direct shear, right. Therefore, what is the resultant of these two? If I find out, the value should not be more than the bolt value for the extreme extreme bolt. That extreme bolt will be subjected to more and more uh, shear value, right? This is another schematic of the type 1 bracket connection, type 1 bracket connection, right? Now let's see, this is just now I explained that this is subjected to a movement about this bolt bolt CG bolt CG, right? And the bolts are also provided on the same plane about which the movement is applied, right? Then however, this extreme bolt is subjected to the direct shear as well as the shear due to the torsion. We will see that in the numeric problem, student. Then you will understand. Right? This is the type 2 bracket connection in which, right, the bolts are provided. The bolts are provided on a perpendicular plane to that of the plane of bending, right? Therefore plane of bending is there on this plane, whereas the uh, bolt group or CG of the bolt group is there on transverse plane. Therefore such a connection is what referred to as a type 2 bracket connection. Now once we examine this is the type 2 bracket connection, right? Now next, let us say this. Even this is also right here. These bolts are subjected to the uh, eccentric loading, right? These are type 2, right? Whereas movement is happening about this plane, whereas bolt group is on a transverse plane, right? Or even now we can see that this is the type 2, right? Movement is happening about this, whereas these bolts are there on a quite uh, transverse plane. Even now we can see that this one, right? Movement is happening about this. The movement bolts are there on a quite perpendicular plane, right? These are the practical examples, students, right? Now this is our other schematics, right? This is a schematic of a beam with the end plate. Just now we have seen, right? This is a beam with end plate. Just now we have seen that schematic, right? This is a movement connection, right? Movement connection, right? Sorry, this is a simple connection, student, right? Whereas I don't have any sufficient number of bolts provided here. Even I don't have any the stiffener plate for the column. Whereas this second figure shows many number of bolts are seen now compared to that of the previous case, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Even at the top, I do have a top angle or that of the cleat angle here, right? A cleat angle is also provided. Also at the base, a seat angle is also provided. They are also connected by means of the bolts. Therefore this is a rigid connection, whereas this is a simple connection. That is all the difference between these two, right? Now you can see that in the line of this the stiffener plates are provided. Right? Now this is a simple connection. Just you can see only just at the top uh, cleat angle is provided. At the base just a seat angle is provided. They are simply transferring the shear um, at this intersection to the flange of the column, right? Now whereas this is now we do have a cleat angle at the top and also at the bottom seat angle, which is provided by means of the stiffeners. The stiffeners may be a stiffener plate or stiffener angle, or that may be a stiffener angle, or pair of the two stiffener angles back to back like this, right? Pair of the two stiffener angles as appropriated, right? That is how it may be, right? Therefore this is what called a stiffened seated connection. Previously what we have seen is this is unstiffened seated connection, right? That too, this is the simple connection, right? Whereas this is a stiffened seated connection, right? Now next next one is now we can see that if the end of the flange of the beam is welded to the flange of the column by means of weld, then it is a rigid connection. A rigid connection. Now you can see, right? Even right, these two welds will take movement, as well as here I have to have a shear tap which will transfer the shear force also. Shear force. Even in the continuation of this flange of this beam I do have a continuity plate here in the column between the flanges of the column as a continuity plate, and a continuity plate in the column, right? That next. Next one is also, now we can see that here the beam is connected by means of a T stub. T stub, just now we have seen in the IS 800, right? Even it is provided by means of a an angle here, right? Therefore this is a rigid connection. This is a rigid connection. Right? Now, also let us see this, right? This is also a rigid connection, student. Right? I do have a cleat angle, right, which is connected by means of bolts, and also a seat angle connected by means of bolts, and also I do have a framing angle, right, connecting the web of the beam to that of the flange of the column, right? Now, and also let us see the another schematic of the same. Instead of that cleat angle at the top, now I do have a fillet weld at the top, and also fillet weld at the bottom, right? And this framing angle is there, right, for transfer of the shear by means of angles and bolts, right? And in the continuation of this web, I do have the stiffener plates, right, in the continuation of the compression zone, as well as in the compression in the tension zone, right? This is also a rigid connection, right? Now the same shown now schematically, right? Welded as well as bolts, right? Here by means of, once again, welded as well as by means of a T stub as appropriated, and also at the bottom, right? Continuity plate at the in the uh, columns, right? Now next one is the same, another schematic, right? Another view of the same figure what you have seen just now, right? Another view of the same, right? Or if I just remove that, how it looks, right? This is how it is looking, right? That plate which is provided by means of a number of bolt holes, right? Which are passing through the flange, the compression flange of the beam, right? And this is how the um, ordinary black bolt or high strength friction grip bolt, right? And nut at the other end, right? Similarly, in the tension zone, right? Bolt, and at the bottom nut connected by means of say a plate or T stub, or the seated angle. Even at the top, it may be a cleat angle as appropriate. Now, even you can see that they will also be connected to the flange of the column at these locations in two rows, right? That is how just opened view, right? The same view without just opening. Now I am showing that picture, right? And now this is how the type 2 bracket connection, where the movement will be there on this plane, whereas on a perpendicular plane I do have the bolt CG of bolts are provided, and CG of the bolt group is there, and you can see that even the column is provided with the stiffener plates. Therefore, it is a type 2 bracket connection, which is a rigid connection, right? Here the beam can be seated, can be put over a bearing plate here, right? Bearing plate, right? Or even we can see that this is a connection between the column to beam, right? Almost it is a movement resisting or movement connection, right? Type 2 uh, or type 2 bracket connection also, right? That is how. These are also the schematics of the type 2 bracket connection, student, right? This is on a quite different plane compared to that of the movement, on which the movement is coming on this plane, whereas it is the bolt groups are there on quite perpendicular plane, right? Now you can see stiffener plates are provided in columns, right? Here there are no stiffener plates provided, right? If small movement is there, will not provide stiffener plates. If somewhat medium movement is there, then at least will provide in the continuation of the compression zone as well as tension zone, one plate on either side of or back to back of this web of this column, right? Even if the movement is large, then what we'll do is even will provide the seating arrangement even up to the end of the seating arrangement, right? Will provide another, right, another inclined stiffener plate in addition to that which is in continuation of the compression plane, as well as one at the end of this stiffener sorry, this seated angle or seated arrangement, right? That is how the type 2 connections, right? Type 2 connections are. Now you can see that the type 2 connection is just shown in a quite different fashion, right? Wherein this beam is connected by means of the end plate and connected to the flange of the column, by means of the end plate. Just now we have seen all these definitions, right? This is also another schematic view of the beam connected to the column flange. Even it is continued on the other side. Even you can see that these beams are provided with the stiffeners. They themselves are provided with stiffeners. Now even you can see that there is a T stub here, right? Even this is also a T stub, right? These are what called the T stubs, right? T stubs, which are provided means of the bolts here in the compression as well as tension zones, right? Tension zones, right? And this is already welded. Therefore welded means this is a movement connection, right? It is also welded. Therefore it is a movement connection and connected to that of the web of this beam. Therefore these are what movement connections. These connections will transfer the movement to the columns, right? Now this is how the even this is also, you please see that this is totally welded, student, right? Totally rigid, right? This web itself is totally welded to the top of the flange of the column, and also at the top we can see that there is a cleat cleat angle which is connected by means of the bolts like this, right? Even nuts you can see, right? Even the washers you can see, right? On either side of this cleat angle, and also at the bottom you can see that there is a seat angle, right? Which is provided by means of, say, 2 plus 2, right? Four bolts in two rows. This is what called the seat angle, and this is what called the cleat angle, and this is totally rigid connection. Similarly you can see, right, this beam is connected to the column flange by means of a frame angle connected by so many number of bolts, right, keeping in view whether it is right, if it is welded, then it should be a rigid connection. Nevertheless, because of this depth, even if I provide so many number of bolts, then also it is a rigid connection, because I can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 number of bolts are there, right? Therefore 10 number of bolts, if they are provided, then even if it is not welded like this, even they are just provided by means of bolts, then also it is a rigid connection, student, right? This is of the different examples of the real world problems, right? Once we examine this, let us move quickly. I hope you understood the real world problems, right? Then let us see quickly that of the numeric problems at a quicker pace, student. I hope you are understanding these discussions, right? Let us see a numeric problem wherein determine the safe load that can be carried by the giant as shown in the figure, right? The bolts used are 20 dia, 4.6 grade bolts, 4.6 grade bolts, right? Now that is how the diameter of the bolt is given, right? As a 20 mm, right? This is how the schematic shown, student, right? The schematic what is shown is like this, right? uh, right, just now we have seen like this, right? Right, this schematic, right, which is provided by means of how many number of bolts, right? 1 2 3 4 5, right? 5 plus 5, 10 number of bolts, 10 number of bolts, right? We can see, right, 5 bolts here, 5 bolts here, right? This view I am showing that, this view I am showing that. I hope you are understanding that, right? And subjected to a concentrated load here from this beam, right? Subjected to a constant load from the beam, right? And the distance between these two vertical rows of the vertical rows of the bolts, vertical rows of the bolts is 120 mm, is 120 mm, right? Like this is 120 mm, right? Whereas the distance between the bolts in one row is what called, right, this is the pitch, 80 mm, 80 mm, right? Here 120 mm is the gauge, right? This is what now gauge, student, right? This is what called the gauge, right? Whereas this is what called the pitch, right? This is what called the pitch, right? P is equal to 80 mm, and you can see that end distance is equal to 40 mm and 40 mm, right? This is the data given, and what is also given is this bracket plate is of 10 mm thick, 10 mm thick, right? And the beam is seated over a bearing plate, right? The CG of this the CG of this bearing plate to that of the CG of this bolt group is 200 mm away, 200 mm away, right? And what is also given is the flange of the flange of this column is 9.1 mm, right? Whereas the bracket plate is 10 mm, whereas the flange is just 9.1 mm. Please make a note that the bracket plate should have a thickness more than that of the thickness of the flange. Otherwise, the bracket plates will fail. That is not acceptable by the code. That is not acceptable by the code. That is of the type 1 bolted bracket connection. Now let us see what is the data given, student. Already in the problem it is shown that there are 10 number of 20 mm dia bolts. Therefore, if I go to ISI attended 2007 table 19, page number 73. Let me just quickly go to that page number 73. Okay, 73, 73, right? Therefore, I am there in that page number 73, student, right? Therefore, if the diameter is at 20, then from this table 19 for standard clearance holes, right? Now, additionally, I should have add 2 mm. Therefore, the diameter of the hole is equal to 20 plus 2, 22 mm, right? And the partial safety factor for the bolts is equal to 1.25. And also from IS 1367 part 3 2002 page number 9, even the other day you have seen in the previous videos, the net area of the bolt can be noted down, or alternatively you can calculate that net area of the bolt as approximately equal to 0.78 multiplied by the gross area of that bolt. Therefore 0.78 multiplied by pi by 4 20 square, right? Pi by 4 20 square is equal to 314 multiplied by 0.78. It works out approximately 245 mm square. And also from IS 800 2007 table 1 of page number 13 for 4.6 ordinary black bolts, right? Ordinary black bolts are normal black bolts, right? I do have the ultimate strength of the bolt as a 400 MPa and yield strength of the bolt, right? Yield strength is equal to, right, this 0.6 multiplied by this 400, we will work out 240 Newton per mm square, MPa, 240 Newton per mm square, right? And what's also given is the thickness of the I section flange is equal to 9 mm. 9 mm is given, sorry, 9.1 mm is given, right? And the bracket plate is 10 mm, 10 mm thick, right? And the steel is of Fe410 grade steel, Fe410 grade steel, right? Therefore, the ultimate strength of the steel is 410 Newton per mm square, and also the yield stress of the steel is equal to 250 Newton per mm square. And the partial safety factors, right? If at all you are using for against yielding, then gamma m naught is equal to 1.1. The partial safety factor for the ultimate stresses, right? Gamma m1 is equal to 1.25, right? 1.25, right? Once we see this, student, now let us see. First, let us calculate what is the bolt value. Now, what is asked is how much load this type 1 bolted bracket connection can resist, right? What we are examining, right, is this problem, right? This is a problem of a design of a type 1 bracket connection with ordinary black bolts, right? We are there in that, right? I hope you are understanding these discussions, right? Therefore, how much load this bolted connection can resist, that is what our target, right? Therefore, now first I need to calculate the bolt value, student, right? However, we can see that the bracket is connected to the flange, right? Therefore, I do have only one weak plane. Therefore, there is only one weak plane at which there is one weak plane. Therefore, it is under these bolts are under single shear. These normal black bolts are under single shear, right? Therefore, what is the strength of this ordinary black bolt in single shear? As per this IS attended 2000, page number 75, class 10.3.3. Let us visit that, right? Page number 75, right? Page number 75. I do have the design, right? Design strength of the bolt. VDSB is equal to VNSB divided by gamma NB, where VNSB is nominal shear capacity of the bolt given by Fu divided by root 3 NN multiplied by A and B, right? Generally, we don't have this NS plus ASB, right? Therefore, substituting the numeric values, now I'll get the result as, say, 400 divided by root 3 multiplied by 245 multiplied by NN, only single shear. Therefore, NN is equal to 1 divided by 1.25. That divided by 10 to the power 3, it works out 45.26 kilonewton in single shear for 20 mm diabolt. That you can remember, students, right? For 20 mm in single shear, 45.26, whereas for double shear it is 90.5 approximately, right? That's how you can remember, right? Whereas from class 10.3.4, page number 75 of this same codal specification, now I have to have the bearing capacity of the bolts is given by VDPB is equal to VNPB divided by gamma MB, where VNPB is equal to nominal bearing capacity of the bolt divided by 2.5 kb dt multiplied by Fu, where kb is the smaller of the four values, 1 E by 3D naught, 2 P by 3D naught minus 0.25, 3 Fu B divided by Fu, and 4 1 4. Therefore, if I calculate the different values, now this is how the different values, right? E divided by 3D naught is equal to 0.5, and P divided by 3D naught minus 0.25 is equal to 0.5, and FUB divided by Fu is equal to 0.975 and 1. Out of all these, right, 0.5 is the least value. 0.5 is the least value. Therefore, even if I substitute in this formula, now I'll get this bearing strength of the bolt of this normal black bolt is equal to, I just calculated, right? That now works out, say, a value 80 kilonewton. 80 kilonewton. In the previous problems also you have seen, student, please revisit that, right? Or now you can substitute these values now, right? Now the thickness for the bearing is least of these two, right? Either 10 mm or 9.1 mm. Therefore, 9.1 mm will fail first. Therefore, here in this formula you just substitute T is equal to 9.1 multiplied by this Kb is equal to 0.5 multiplied by 2.5 multiplied by Fu. Fu is equal to, now 400 will fail first. Plate is having a value of 400 400, and the plate is having 410, whereas the bolt is having 400. Out of these two, whichever governs first, right? Therefore 400 will fail first. Therefore fu is equal to 400 divided by gamma mp is equal to 1.25. If I do that, now I'll get 80 kilonewton. Therefore the bolt value is the least of these two. The first criteria is that of the single shear criteria of 45.26, whereas that of the bearing capacity of the bolt is equal to 80. Therefore 45.26 is the bolt value, means one bolt will fail at 45.26 in single shear criteria, right? Now once I calculate that, that is why I'm just saying that bolt value B is equal to 45.26. Now however, you please see that these bolts these bolts are subjected to one, the shear force, right, as well as they are subjected to the bending moments, right? They are also subjected to bending moments, right? Therefore now let us calculate both of these forces, right? Therefore now let us say let P be the safe load or the factored load. Therefore the service load is equal to that divided by partial safety factor for the dead and live loads. Therefore P1 is the service load is equal to that factored load divided by partial safety factor 1.25. Therefore I want to find out what is P1, right? Service load, how much working load I can put, that I want to calculate it. Then however I do have the first subheading as the direct shear force in each of the bolt, is equal to, right, that total load that divided by we have provided in two rows. N prime is the number of rows, right? N prime is the number of rows. Here in the figure we have seen that they are provided in two rows, right? And each row has how many number of bolts? N is equal to how many? For our problem it is 5. Therefore 5 multiplied by 2. Therefore in total I do have 10 number of bolts. Therefore the direct shear force in each of the bolt, right, is equal to, right, 0.1 P, where P is the safe load or the factored load, right? And also you let us see this schematic, student. Even we already seen this previously also, right? Like this, right? Like this, right? Right? Just now we have seen this, right? Whereas this extreme bolt, which is not only under shear, just now we have seen this P divided by N is equal to 0.1 P, it worked out, right? Whereas it is also subjected to, all these bolts are rotating about this CG axis of this bolt group, right? Therefore they are now rotating, like this, right? Therefore about the CG axis, right? Therefore however, out of all these, right, the extreme bolt from the CG axis of the bolt group will be subjected to maximum shearing force, like this. Therefore this is how this bolt is subjected to maximum shear force, right, due to this bending or torsion, right? Now I'll say that extreme bolt is at a radial distance from the CG of this bolt group at a distance of r, right? Or I'll say the horizontal distance is equal to x and the vertical distance is equal to y. Therefore r is square root of x square plus y square, that I can calculate. Therefore then once I calculate that, this is what the eccentricity for type 1 student, right? The eccentricity for type 1 is from the CG of the bolt group to that of the application of the load. That is what the eccentricity. Whereas in type 2 it is from the face of the column to that of the application of the load. That is the difference between these two. Please make a note of this, student, right? Now therefore this is how the figure schematic what just now we have seen, right? What we have just now seen. Now I want to calculate this force. Therefore now the second one is the how much of, right, the shear force due to the bending moment. The bending moment is notated by F2,
or the shear force due to torsion, because T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to C theta by L. That simple torsion formula we are already aware of. Therefore, because of this torsion T, right, shear stress tau, that multiplied by area, the shear force F2, right? That is how. Now I'll say from that simple torsion formula, therefore the shear force F2 is equal to that bending moment or torsion M multiplied by Rn divided by summation of Rn squares, right? Rn squares, right? That is how. This is this is Rn, this is Rn, right? Rn, whereas this is Rn, right? Rn, whereas summation of these are R1, R2, R3, so on and so forth, right? There are 10 number of bolts here, right? That is how we need to take care of all those summations in the denominator, where I is equal to 1 to 10, right? For the entire bolt group, about the CG of this bolt group, Therefore, now what I'll do is I need to calculate what is that R1 distance. Therefore, along this horizontal distance R1, but already what is given the problem is that gauge is equal to 120. Therefore, R1 is equal to 120 divided by 2, 60 mm. All the dimensions are in mm. Then next R2 is nothing but this 60 whole square plus, even this is already given the problem as 80 mm. Therefore, 80 whole square, that works out 100 mm. Similarly, R3 is nothing but this 60 horizontal, as well as there are two pits, means 2 multiplied by 80 is equal to 160 square. Therefore, R3 is square root of 60 square plus 160 square, that works out, say, 170.8 mm, right? Therefore, for all these 10 number of bolts, summation of Rn square is equal to I is equal to 1 to 10, means there are two bolts which are at a distance of R1, therefore 2 R1 square, and there are 4 bolts which are at a distance of R2, and there are 4 bolts which are at a distance of R3. Therefore, Rn square is nothing but 2 R1 square plus 4 R2 square plus 4 R3 squares, right? That is how. Now I do have that, right? Hence, now substituting these numeric values, now it works out 164 into 10 to power 3 mm square. Therefore, now I would have the shear force due to this torsion or bending moment is equal to PERN divided by Rn. However, that extreme bolt is this, which is far off from the CG group, is at a distance of R3. Therefore, in the numerator I would have R3 instead of Rn. Therefore, P is unknown, right? The eccentricity is given the problem as a 200 mm, and Rn, just now we have seen 170.83 divided by summation of Rn square, right? Therefore, substituting all these in the consistent units, right? Now I'll get, say, F2 is equal to 0.2084 P, in terms of, say, kilonewtons, right? Consistent units, right? Therefore, that is how this bolt is under the direct shear force F1, as well as the shear force due to this torsion, right? Because of this torsion, right? Means there is a couple actually, right? There is a couple, right? Resisting that movement. There is a couple generated in the opposite direction to that of the applied movement. Applied movement is like this. Therefore, the couple is generated, right? Couple is generated because of this F2 and F2, right? With this lever arm. Therefore, there is a shear force due to the resisting the torsion, right? Therefore, if this bolt is under the action of the two loads, then we know what is the resultant. Resultant is square root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos theta. Where what is theta? Theta is this inclination of this lever arm line with that of the horizontal, or it is the inclination between this F1 and F2 as appropriate. Therefore, from the figure, now it works out tan theta is equal to the opposite side 160 divided by this adjacent side 60 mm, or from that now I can say that cos theta is equal to 60 divided by 170.49, right? Therefore, now I get the resultant shear force F is equal to square root of F, right? Substituting all these, right? Now I get that F is equal to, upon substitution, I get 0.2608 P, right? Now, however,
the maximum force which can be resisted by a bolt itself is a bolt value. Bolt value is nothing but the strength of the bolt, the strength of one bolt, what it can resist, either in shear or in bearing criteria, is the bolt value. Therefore, this force cannot be greater than this bolt value. Therefore, this P cannot be greater than this B. However, we already know what is B value. B value is 45.26, that divided by 0.2608 means P cannot be greater than 173.5, approximately 5 kilonewton, right? This is the factored load. This is the factored load. Whereas the working load, if you want, you divide with partial safety factor 1.5, then you will get 115.66 kilonewton. 115.66 kilonewton. Right? That is how the design of the type 1 bracket connection, the type 1 bracket connection. Right now, once we examine that, now let us go quickly to the type 2 bracket connection, student. Right, I hope you enjoyed the discussions what we had in today's class, student. Right, if you have really enjoyed the discussions, then right, don't forget to click like, comment, subscribe and share to our YouTube channel. Right, in the next class we shall meet with another discussion on the design of stiffened seated bolted connections subjected to eccentric loading. Right, till then, bye bye students.